Hey guys, Aggie K Wealth Therapist, and I'm coming at you on this gray and rainy day here in Toronto to talk about maybe I can say that correctly, Parkinson's law as it relates to money mindset. This is gold, people. Watch this live stream. This is gold. Save the video, download, whatever. It's going to be up on YouTube by tomorrow, so you can watch it then. So that's just remind me I have a client in a half hour. Okay, so Parkinson's law as it relates to money. So what's Parkinson's law? And I'm just reading Clockwork, the Mike Mihailovich book, which talks about Parkinson's law as well. And Kate Northrup talks about it. So this is interesting as it relates to money, right? It's very interesting as it relates to anything, but it particularly, of course, in my niche of money mindset, how it relates to money. And the law itself says that the volume will expand, the volume of work, the volume of time, the volume of money will expand to fit the allotted space or container. It comes from like a law about gas and volume, and that the gas will fill the capacity of the container that it's in. So how is this true about money? I'm like excited about this because this is great money mindset work for you guys, for all of us. So how does this relate to money mindset? Well, you have to think about money will fill the space that it's in, right? So if it can work in so many number of ways, right? So it can fill the space of credit card debt as much as there is. It can fill the space of savings as much as there's space for. It can fill the space of clients that there's enough space for. It can fill lots of containers, but you have to ask yourself why it's filling some containers and not others. Like, why might it be filling a debt container and not a making money container, right? So how I want you to think about this is that our containers for money are on multiple levels. We have a container for money on a spiritual level. We have a container for money on a mental level. Hey, Liz Lasky, we have a container for money on an emotional level. We have a container for money on a physical level. So you want to take a look at all four of these levels as containers that need to be filled, that need to be first empty enough to fill. And that's probably the biggest chunk of work that we do in mindset, is emptying these containers so that they can be filled. So let's go through each container so you can get an idea here. And we're talking about Parkinson's law as it relates to money mindset. And Parkinson's law is that money, work, time, and really it comes from gas, will fill the space that is allotted for it. Okay, it will always fill the space that it's allotted for. So in terms of time, and this comes up in the Clockwork book, and other people have used this too, but no one's used it for money mindset to my knowledge. So it will fill the space that it's given. So if there's space for debt, it will fill the space that it's given. If there's space for, savings, it will fill that space. However, your mindset has something to do with that, right? Has a lot to do with that if you're focused on it or not. So I'm talking about how like what containers we have within our money mindset, and how do we shift those containers to make room and space. So if we have four containers, we have spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. The physical ones are pretty clear, right? Like we have bank accounts, we have, debt, we have, well, you might not have debt, hopefully not. But if you do, that would be a container. So you would have physical bank accounts, you have money that you might owe people, you might have like integrity issues going on with money. Maybe you owe people money, or maybe something's going on there that needs to be cleared. So on every level, you want to take a look at what needs to be cleared or emptied so that it can be filled. So on a physical level, what needs to be cleared or emptied? Then you would look at how could you expand it? How could you make it bigger? Do you have separate bank accounts for your business, for example. Hey, Stasha. Oh, cool. So you would want to take a look at how can you clear it? How can you expand it? And then, you would want to look at also like what's going to expand that container. Learning is going to expand that container. Studying is going to expand that container. When you know more, you're going to expand that container. So if you learn a little bit more about finances every day, if you learn a little bit more about your subconscious every day, it's going to expand your ability, your capacity to receive within that container. So that's how we would work on expanding. You would also, part of clearing, so clearing, expanding, part of clearing might be deleting, delegating. James Whitmore says, what does he say? Delete, delegate, or do it, I guess. So that would be part of clearing. What do you need to delete? What do you need to delegate in that level? So we're looking at the 4 levels, the physical level. What do you need to simplify perhaps so that you have a bigger container for money to fill? And then then we could move up to the emotional level. And what do you need to clear on the emotional level? And hello, this is like a lifelong process. And it doesn't mean you can't make money in the process of this process. You can. But this is a way of expanding. If you feel like you're stuck or you're plateaued or you can't get any further with where you're at, regardless of what kind of business you're in. And I work with lots of coaches, obviously. And I'm one of the best at working with coaches. If you're a coach, you should connect with me because you become a really good mindset expert, and that works in every single niche of coaching. But in any industry, this works. So on an emotional level, you need to clear, you probably need to delete some like patterns, you need to heal some stuff. So what needs emotional clearing, and where can you expand emotionally? Like a lot of people will have a closed heart, for example, which doesn't allow them to access to intuition, which means they're always trying to force answers intellectually. So they can't really expand how much they receive because their creativity is blocked from here and here. So that might be going on, stuff that you need to clear and expand. So clearing and expanding, again, learning, experiencing will help you to shift that as well, will help you to expand the container. The more you know, the more you're able to learn, do, etc. And then you're going to want to go on the mental level. You're going to want to take a look at what do you need to clear? What thoughts are stopping you from creating a bigger container? And do you just have a really, really busy, overactive mind that needs to be calmed down, that you need more time in other parts of yourself, to connect in other parts of yourself, that you're not always just looking to your intellect for all the answers? And is your brain just overworked because you're just putting all this pressure to come up with the answers, to figure everything out, and maybe it's just too busy, That could also be on a physical level. That could be a block to money. People that are already stressed, let's say they're making like 10 or 20K, and they're already super stressed physically, they're stressed in terms of their responsibilities, they're stressed in terms of how many things they're holding. That needs to, the stress doesn't need to expand. You have to let some stuff go to be able to keep expanding the container of how much money you want to make. Right? You can't keep, cramming more stuff in there if you're already stressed, and it's going to like crack the container open. So, that on a mental level is really, really important. People who are already stressed have a hard time like doubling their income because it just means more stress for them. So that has to shift before you can do that. So looking at where you can delete, delegate, or do it, looking at where you can learn something different mindset wise, looking at where you can let go, clear some of that stress so that you can expand to receiving more. And then on a spiritual level as well, you want to take a look at what's going on for you spiritually, and if that container has space to bring in the idea of abundance, and that everyone has abundance, and that everyone is able to that people have money and abundance and ability to pay you, and you have the ability to pay, and that you believe on a deep level that is accessible to you. Just take a look at what's going on spiritually. And do you need to know more? Do you need to study more? Do you need to learn about that more because you don't have a clear sense of what that is, right? So take a look on those 4 levels, where you might need to clear, where you might need to expand, where you might need to study, where you might need to bring in a new level of understanding that allows you to create a bigger container, because it will only like fill to capacity. And if you feel like you're at capacity, you have to create something new. You have to learn something new. Something new has to happen to shift into a bigger income level. Okay. Hope that makes sense. You guys loving my new Natalie Martin dress? Super excited about it. And excited about this topic. This is such a great topic. It goes really nicely with Mike Mihalovich's book Clockwork, because he talks about Parkinson's law as it relates to time and being a business owner. And I just started thinking about how does that relate to money mindset. It very much relates to it, right? Any container that's already full can't bring in more. And that doesn't necessarily mean like your container's already full of all the money you want, because you might be thinking, hey, Kowalski, I don't have all the money I want yet. And I hear you. But to expand that container, think about it. You need a bigger container. You need a bigger way to think about things. You need a different kind of mindset. You need to have maybe like a broader identity or a bigger identity to step into to hold all the things that you want, right? So think about that. Let me know what your thoughts are about that. And if you have any comments or questions, put them in the thread. And if you're thinking about working with me, just hop on over to agneskowalski.com and book a time with me or over on my Facebook page. And let's have a chat and see which of my programs you might be the best fit for. I am doing a mastermind and a one-on-one, and I have one-on-one spots. So a couple, not a lot till the end of the year, but we can really do some good mindset work in the next couple months. So hit me up if that is interesting to you. If you like this, please love, like, share. I'm Aggie K. Wealth Therapist. Hey, Kowalski. That's a great name for my new podcast. Love it. Hey, Kowalski. Because that's how I think to myself. I think to myself, hey, Kowalski, why are you doing that? Think about your containers today and your containers for your money mindset on all 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and where you can expand. Which area needs to learn more so that you can receive more. I'm such a firm believer, and I know lots of entrepreneurs, artists, are people who love new information and the right kind of information that's going to help them expand. That isn't necessarily just going to be a collection of information, but information and knowledge and wisdom that is going to help to move you forward, right? To shift your identity into that bigger container that can hold more for you, that can is capable of receiving more. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I'm Aggie K. Wealth Therapist. Mwah! See you on the next one.